Okay, the podcast intro in three, two, one. Yeah. Nice. Welcome
Yeah.
to another episode of Geek Fit, everybody, where we talk about staying active, being fit, and fighting the dad bod.
Yeah.
I'm Jake. He's Zach. Um, and let's get
Hi.
down to business. Hi.
Hi, internet.
Hi, internet. Hi, everybody that's watching us, all too. I think it's me and you.
Yes.
Oh, that's the beauty of VODs.
But
People pick it up later.
yeah, you never know. Like people might be watching this like 20 years from now
In the future.
in the
Yeah.
future.
Well, the other thing is too is we haven't really had a. We can't blame anybody. We haven't had a steady schedule. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's hard to know. We're working on that. Like we just got to kind of fit it in when we can fit it in.
Yeah. We're just doing it, man. Making it happen.
So, so we kind of have a theme for today. Zach, would you like to read the intro?
Sure. This is a quote from Marcus Aurelius. He is a Roman emperor. And this is what he said. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one.
I love that. That's a great one. Just uh
So,
just do it.
yeah,
Do
what do
stuff.
you like what does that make you what does that bring to mind for
Y-
you?
Honestly, you could spend for me and this is probably just where I'm at my headspace right now, but you could spend hours and hours and hours planning and talking about it, that whole failure to launch, but never actually doing anything, you know? And so in this context, it's obviously talking about being a good man. But I guess what I makes me think about is just doing things like what's right, what's wrong. Just do the right thing, and you know what that is. You overanalyze something and it becomes you know that's when the details get weird. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you? Why did you pick that quote?
Um well, it just seems like even in myself included in this that a lot of times it's way easier to criticize someone or even a group of people, and it's easy to make that choice, but it's really difficult to actually do something that would lead that person by seeing your own actions towards a path of better unity and connection between you and the person that you are disagreeing with, you know? So,
Yeah.
like, for example, I get really upset when I see people arguing about things on Facebook because I think it's pointless.
Because everybody's trying
But
to learn something, right? They're not just trying to be right.
yeah, so yeah, so it's like I don't know why. Like today, I just disabled the app because it was frustrating me, and I didn't want to see any more notifications about things and
Yeah.
like so. I would just rather lead by example and like Jocko Willink says in the Discipline Equals Freedom Field Manual. Um, outperform and just, what is it? When people are talking smack about you and they're trying to put you down in that workplace situation or any situation, if you just ignore that and you outperform them, then eventually they're going to be like, "Oh, I need to do what this guy's doing way better things and more successful."
Yeah.
And that's how you actually get someone to change their mind. You don't get them to change their mind by posting a 50-page or a 50 paragraph like statement on Facebook about why they're wrong and you're right.
Yeah. You know, I
So,
once I once saw this quote. It was awesome. It said, "The best revenge is success."
mm,
Ins- Instead of
hmm
wasting your time arguing with somebody, because right and wrong sometimes is so like your headspace at the time. So it's like, you know,
hmm
instead of arguing with somebody and wasting breath on trying to prove you're right, just be right. You know what I mean?
that's it. Yeah, that's exactly what what Jocko was getting at. Just ignore all the BS and just outperform, and you will eventually, you know, accomplish the goal that you want to accomplish by arguing, by just, ignoring any criticism or negative commentary and just outworking and outperforming
Yeah,
anyone who's trying to argue with you. So
yeah, dude.
stop
It
wasting your time arguing and just do it.
no, it's so true. And again, it comes down to just action. Action speaks louder than
Mhm.
words, and that's a trite saying, I guess, is what you would call it, but it's so true. You hear it all the time, but you can get so lost in arguing about stuff. And then, what the thing that frustrates me about Facebook, you know,
Mm.
when people are arguing about stuff. Oh, we should turn this into a little bit of a vent. Well, let's not be negative about it, but you know what? Like people are getting so passionate about this, that, and the other, right? On Facebook or on social
Yeah.
media. And my only thought sometimes, and where my mind goes, I'm like, how does this affect your life?
Yep.
Does that make you money? Does that put a house over your head? I mean, if you're right in this situation, does any of that matter in any
hmm
tangible way other than your digital e-peen? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't. Like, so it's like, so when people are so frustrated and getting after each other, I usually just, I don't know. I'm like, well, I'm gonna go better myself. I'm gonna go read another book on sales or on, finance, and I hope you guys win, like your argument. Like, I don't know. Like that's the thing that's where my brain goes.
Well, it's kind of like, I look at it as like if you have two dogs that are hungry and you throw a scrap of meat off the table, they just fight over it until the meat's gone.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what arguing on the internet is like. Like you're just you're just going back and forth over this useless scrap that isn't really going to do you much good if you get it anyways, and you're fighting about it with a bunch of other people, so it's like getting torn into all these tiny pieces, and you're not really getting anywhere. You're just wasting your time. And
Yeah.
and other people, and then the people that are throwing the scraps, they're just sitting there laughing at you because you're distracted and they're putting in work.
You know, one thing that I read that goes well with that is people when you like to feel like they're doing stuff, right? So,
Yeah.
but the problem is being efficient is doing things well, but being effective is doing the right things. And whenever I start to look at a task or look at something, and we're talking about arguing and things like that. So, but what I'm trying to say is whenever I look at a situation that I start to engage in, I start to wonder if it's effective. Because you can efficiently argue, but is this effective? What is the outcome once I'm done with this? You know what I mean? Like when I'm done arguing and I win, what does that do for me?
Exactly. It's never, and I found that the more you try to like change a person's mind with words that you just you can't like it's it's like the art of war, right? Like don't attack a heavily defended position. You'll be at a disadvantage. Like flanking is ultimately the best position for trying to change someone's mind, for trying to win a battle, and it's the same in in any situation. Like if you can't approach from the front, you've got to try and come in from the side. You got to have a strategy
Yeah.
that, you know,
Well, yes, yes, and what I would also say when it comes to an argument, when it comes to an idea, if you could truly approach the situation not to be right, but to figure out what is right. And if all your goal is like you said is to be right, then nobody's right because the other person thinks they're right. They're trying to be right. Nobody wins. But
yeah,
if you're willing to accept that you can go into a situation and a discussion, and instead of being an argument, it's a discussion, and you both can learn from it and understand a different point of view from it, that's when you truly win. And that's what I was going to say. That's what you can get from something like that. But the problem with social media and Facebook, that's what got us off on this little tangent here, is people are so sure of themselves. They just drop one-liners, drop the phone, I'm out, I won,
mhm.
I crafted the perfect thing. They don't want, there's no back and forth and give and take, and then the other side is if you give an inch, nobody else will give an inch, so nobody feels like they can let their guard down and be vulnerable and learn something. Um, I don't know.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, Vern?
I get it. Yeah, it's hard to have a good argument on the internets. It's just a lot of
Yeah,
times you're just spinning your wheels, but it's good. It's good. There are some good people that will have a good two-sided conversation out there.
yeah. Well, speaking of spinning your wheels, I think we're off on a tangent. So let's bring this back in.
You're off on a tangent.
Your face is a tangent. Um, so I want to talk about gaming.
Stop talking about math. I'm confused.
I don't like numbers. When did they start putting? I don't like math. When did they start putting letters in it? Um, So let's talk about our weekend gaming, bro. So I'll go first. I haven't had a whole lot of time to game this week, and I'm very sad. That new World of Warcraft expansion came out. I've only had like 10, 15 minutes a night to play. Um, but oh my gosh, it is a cut above. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
pretty.
Yeah,
Somebody I work with said they got their warlock to level 20. So I was like, cool, bro.
yeah, dude. It is worth it. Like some of the polish that they put, like what they can do with that game now is awesome, and that's always been my favorite. I grew up playing RPGs and stuff, and so I love the story. I love the flow. I love to see what's going on. What they're doing in there with quests and cutscenes is just fantastic. You know,
Is
um,
it is leveling up kind of like a solo process? You don't need a group type of deal.
Yeah, it's always been that way. Like you can just run through the quests. What's really nice about WoW now too is if they ever do have any group content where you have to finish a quest, it's very easy to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and so, you can always party with people. And it's funny because in that game, like if you take the time to interact with people and talk, you can actually find a bunch of people are just trying to play and have a good time rather than just being the Xbox Live crowd. You know what I mean? Playing Call of Duty.
Yeah. It seemed like I stopped playing I stopped playing the last expansion cuz I was sitting in Dalaran and all I saw in the chat was like just bad words and like and yeah, it just it just seemed like I was never gonna get like caught up to where I could do the content that I wanted to do. I just didn't have the time.
Yeah. You know, it's a
So,
lot better now. Like I mean, there's you can, because back then it was more grindy. You know, it was more of a vanilla flavor where, like in vanilla you had to grind a lot. Like I
mhm,
remember when I finally hit level 60, like that 59 to 60 was like ridiculous. And
mhm,
so I think there's some vestiges of that with Wrath of the Lich King. However, now they realize that, well, their crowd, the people that are playing Warcraft are you and me, you know? Like I don't know
mhm,
if there's a whole lot of like younger people, playing it.
mhm.
I mean, maybe there is. I don't have statistics, but most people I deal, because I work in a computer store, and most people I deal with that play WoW are, well, surprisingly my age or older, which is always shocks me, when they come in and they're like, I play my Warcraft and drink Metamucil. Like I'm like, that's dope, bro. Like, that's awesome. I will kick your ass on the DPS, me does. But
Oh my god.
um, it's amazing. I'm like, let
No,
me fix
nobody
your.
knows what you're talking about.
Well,
Except for people that play RPGs.
yeah,
But
seriously.
but
Anyway,
yeah.
I'm like, let me fix your computer. You got a raid tonight. But but anyway, it's just gotten a lot better about that. Like, quests are easier to do. It's funner.
Cool.
It's more bite sized. So that's what's been going on in WoW. I was talking with my little brother Rob. He is 120. He's been playing he's got his mage up to max level. He's going through and playing his paladin now, so he's having fun with that. So I haven't done some of the content that they've added yet, so I need to get out and do some of that. I'm excited. I'm a level 112, so
Mm.
I got some movement. The other thing I've been doing, this has actually been a lot of fun too, is I've been playing some old school Planescape Torment. I bought the app for my phone, and talk about an old school RPG. Like, this is like every interaction is like a book to read. You have like so many choices, but it's really cool. So every time I go poop, um, I I'll try to play a
That's
little, you know.
that's why you're in the bathroom so long at the gym.
I know everybody's like, "Is he doing anything weird?" I'm like, I'm playing video games. Leave me alone."
Oh boy.
Yeah, people are like, "Are you okay in there?" I don't know what's more embarrassing, saying I'm constipated or playing Planescape Torment. Oh, how about you, bro? What have you been able to play this week?
Nothing. But
The game of
this
life.
is this is something that video games have kind of helped me in real life. So like games like you're talking about that you have a lot of choices that you can make and you can sit there and debate in it, you have all these different choices that are available to your character, and what choice you make affects the entire universe of this game that you're playing, right?
Yeah.
So if you can if you're in a position like where you're doing sales or you're a parent or you're you're trying to influence another person and come up with an outcome that would be the best possible outcome for what you're trying to accomplish. For me, I haven't found any better strategy than just totally detaching from my emotions and seeing my reality as a telltale game or like or um what's that, Dragon's Age, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Dragon Age. Yeah.
Yeah, where you can just like pick pick and choose. You're sitting there and the screen's got four different options or whatever, and you have all the time in the world to sit and think like, which choice should I make?
Yeah.
And so when you're in a situation with your kids and they're starting to like push you and try to influence you, and you can't let your emotions get involved, right? Because that your emotions should never get a vote. You'll never get the right outcome if you get angry or frustrated or any of that stuff. So if you can just pull back and choose the action that might not match up with how your emotions want to go, but it matches up with what outcome you want to get. And that applies to, get trying to lead a person down the right path with sales, or trying to um, influence another person you're just having a conversation from. If you detach and you look at all your options and you choose based on logic rather than emotion,
Hmm.
you can make some pretty you can have a lot more control than you
That,
would if you just fly off the handle. So, video games, I haven't been gaming that much, but I'm still a gamer at heart and I'm using things that games have taught me. So,
dude, that is some Buddhist stuff right there. You know, because you know,
I am pretty monk. I am pretty much a monk.
you're like, yeah, yeah. Well, so I think the thing that is always hard is, especially in sales, I've learned that if you don't react emotionally, well, so emotions are an important part of a person and of you, and you never want to suppress emotions. You want to make sure that you can, deal with them, whatnot. But if you cannot react emotionally, there's a time and place. And if you can stay very, very reasonable and very, very logical during emotional situations, you know what I'm saying? That
Hmm.
can help you through, that can help you be a leader, and that can help you guide people. Like you said, in sales, I've never been a parent, but all I can say in sales is, if you're giving somebody some bad news, like, well, I work in, like, when I say bad news, I work in a computer department where we fix computers. And, if somebody comes in, they're like, hey, this is my 17-year-old computer. It's still running XP. Can we upgrade this? And you have to be like, you just have to hit people with like, man, it's time for a new one. I'm sorry. And then it's like, no, this one's working fine except for it's not. And you're like, it's like, I know you're emotionally attached to this piece of equipment, but there are so many better options out there, and you have to get into and explain to it. And they have this an emotional baggage, but if you can stay logical, because the easy thing is to get frustrated, because I deal with this every day, and you could just be like, no, dude, don't be dumb, you know what I mean? But if you can just walk them through it logically, you can usually come to a much better, they can come to a much better understanding, and it can be a win-win transaction between the two of you.
Same thing happens with trade-ins.
Dude, people have
For
emotional
sure.
attachment to
They're like the
computers, but I can't even
yeah.
imagine the emotional attachment they have to cars. What
They're
is
like
that like?
this car is so good. It's so good. I'm like, um, this is scratched. There's a dent here. Like this is faded. The headlights are all dimmed and scratched up.
You're like, there's
Like
no back seat. What
you,
happened to that?
and once you like work through that with them without just logically not letting their attachment to the car or your emotions get involved, it's a lot easier to be like, you know, to have them see the actual value of the trade-in versus their emotional attachment to
Yeah,
it. Like you're
yeah,
saying with the computer, for sure.
yeah. That's a really good point, and I'm glad you bring that up, because that can help you not only just in sales and whatnot, but in life. Because I
Mm.
think I am not a very emotional person, but I've noticed that if I'm very comfortable with somebody, so with family and stuff, sometimes I regret that I will react way more emotional towards them than I do towards other people. But these are the people that I care with the most. You know what I mean? That I care for the most. And so that's one thing I want to try to get better at myself, is when they're having a bad day or whatnot and they're being aggressive towards me, I can be more not so reactive, and it can be, I can help that be a better situation than you suck. No, you suck.
That's
Uh,
always good.
well, speaking of that, so we've kind of started getting into this a little bit. I want to talk about our week in health. We call it our week in mind, body, and spirit. So here at Geek Fit, just to remind everybody, is we're all about being fit. Staying active, but fit can mean more than just physically. Physically fit is important, but there's three pillars there. There's mind, body, and spirit. So we want to talk about what things we've been doing or what things we haven't been doing to stay active and keep all three pillars growing. Because you're either growing or you're regressing. So, Zach, how's your week been in mind, body, and spirit?
It's been really good. I started, decided to get up a little earlier so that I can get my Wim Hof breathing cycles done outside on my front steps instead of like at the gym where it's a little more it's like I'm just a little more in nature when I'm doing it instead of like inside the city. I'm like surrounded by the trees and the grass, and it smells just like fresh, and the morning dew is out, and it's a lot it's just a lot more peaceful, and I'm looking up at the stars, and it's been really good. And I'm getting to the gym a little earlier. I have more time to do exercises and that type of stuff.
Nice.
Um, so that's been really good. I want to stay focused on that and keep getting up at 3:35 instead of 3:55. It's only 20 minutes. I'm going to set a goal to get to bed by 10. So, I
Yeah.
would like to get to bed by 9:30 and try to fit in 6 hours, but it's probably going to be more like 10, especially on those nights that I work until 9. But
Yeah. Let me ask you something. So you're talking about working out and you're talking about the Wim Hof breathing.
yeah.
Um, and then you're talking about getting up early. So we've gone over a couple things I'd like to interject. Number one is the sleep thing. Now for me, I've tried. Remember, I tried for a while there. I was trying to do the 6 hours of sleep, but dude, I did that for like 2 weeks and I just wanted to die. Like, no, no, for real. Like I couldn't focus at work. I felt like
yeah.
I was getting sick. My brain wasn't working. How do you think you can manage on less than 6 hours of sleep a night and
I
stay so
think
active? How does that work? I don't understand.
I think I'm probably like one of the 10% of people like Jocko Willink who has that DNA that switches on to where they don't need as much sleep, where you're a fast sleeper. You get a good amount of recovery and human growth hormone and all the factors that brings from 3 to 5 hours, where most people need 6 to 7 or more.
Yeah.
So I think
Okay.
I'm lucky slash blessed that way, that I can not sleep as much as most people and still recover fairly well.
Do you think that it's a little bit like fasting? If I push through it, I might adjust to it.
I think that's a possibility, because humans, like, we're built to adapt. So you would just have to give it time and see what happened over time.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
it's and it's not like it's easy for me to get up when my alarm goes off, but I just do it. I don't know, and it's not like it's not easy. It's not something that I think I would get 6 hours every night if I could control things as much as I wanted to, but I can function on 4 to 5.
See, when you
Like
say that kind of stuff, it just hurts my heart. Like I don't. Like, like that's like if somebody that's how you would torture me, I would tell you anything. I don't care. Please let me sleep. Like whatever you want to know. The jewels are upstairs. I killed him. Can I go to bed now? Like, oh
it's
man,
it's pretty crazy that
yeah,
I don't know. And it's crazy too because when I was recovering from all the damage I had at the beginning of this year with the sepsis and everything, I slept from like 6:30 p.m. till like 7 in the morning sometimes.
yeah,
In
like
my
12
in my
hours.
yeah, and that was for like at least a month, maybe 3 weeks, at least 3 weeks that I was just sleeping like crazy. And you know, and once I bounced back from that, it was like now I need less sleep than I needed before I got jacked up, which kind of makes me think that the my doctor's theory that I had a seeping appendicitis for who knows how long before it caused like the big meltdown, and that was kind of affecting, it's putting a big stress on my system, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
that I didn't really know about until it just kind of,
exploded.
yeah.
Exploded. Well,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
It is really interesting. I think the more hard crap your body's been through and survived, like it really is true. Like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
No, yeah, for real, dude. You bounce back hard. Like the some of the weights you're putting up at the gym, I'm like, that's crazy for almost being dead a little while ago. That's nuts.
Yeah,
So,
I was
s-
freaking tired to like, and I felt that this morning, like at work and stuff. I did a little bit with the kettlebell, which we'll talk about that in a little bit, but
yeah, yeah, I'm really excited about that.
um, but I was feeling it.
So, the next thing is the Wim Hof breathing. So we talk about mind, body, spirit. The interesting
Hmm.
thing about Wim Hof and that method is and we can get more into what the method is. Obviously, you could just look it up. There's just Wim Hof, WIMHOF.com, I think is the website. Or if you just
Hmm.
Google Wim Hof, he puts his, there's an app for your phones. He puts his method out there, and it's a technique where you use some breathing and some cold exposure and some mindfulness. However, I think that that is really good for body and spirit. So
In
not
mind.
getting and my oh, what did I say? Body? Yeah, no, body, spirit, and mind. Um, so without getting too far into exactly what it is, and we can explain that later, I want to know, Zach, you've been doing it for a while, and I was too, but I quit because I need to get back into it. But what effects do you think that's had on you doing this method, doing these? It's kind of a meditation technique almost, but it's a breathing technique as well. But what have you noticed in yourself, and what are your goals with it, and what do you hope to accomplish with it?
Um, I just feel really when I finish it in the morning, I feel like present. I don't and I feel grateful to be in this moment and to just have another day to just push towards a better life for my family and my friends and myself. And um, it really just makes me want to get after it, get going in the morning. It, like Wim Hof says, I just feel charged up with energy, and I feel motivated and very, very present. Like the cold is another way to feel present and forget about all these strings of worry and regret or any kind of emotional strings that kind of might be weighing you down. Like it just brings you out of that funk of focusing on anything that might be bringing you down, takes you right into the present moment, and you're like, okay, I'm here now, I'm cold, this is the only thing that matters. And it just kind of snaps you out of it, you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
like a cold, like splashing cold water on your face. It wakes you up, brings you to the present. The breathing also, I really think there is some control to that autonomous nervous system where your mindfulness allows you to heal whatever part of your body you might be focusing on. Like I have an MRI image my the C6 nerve that was completely pinched and shut off and like wrecked basically. Like I had atrophy all down my right side. My bicep shrunk, my lat shrunk, my trap shrunk. Like I couldn't even grip things, in my right hand.
Yeah,
And it's gotten now where it's getting back in balance with my left side, like they say nerves don't heal, but actually mine is. So
yeah, that's
there's
awesome.
there's got to be something to that. Definitely, like Wim Hof says that the breathing will bring you into an alkaline state, which I tested my urine
Yeah,
with some pH strips, and I was definitely in an alkaline state. Not too far into an alkaline state, but definitely not acidic, which allows for, my nerve started healing, you know, a few
yeah,
months after I started doing the breathing and where I could where I would do a pull up and I would just be like leaning to the left because that's where all my strength was. I'm completely balanced now
yeah, man.
again.
I saw you
So
during that Cindy workout. I saw you ripping those up, those pull-ups. That's awesome.
so I mean, yeah, there's definitely some very noticeable benefits that I have seen in myself, healing myself. So that's just with myself. And I
What about
wish,
spirit? So we've talked about body and we talked a little bit
okay,
about mind, but what about spirit?
the spirit part of Wim Hof, and this is all just stuff I've experienced, and I think other people have, but I haven't really heard from anybody else about it because it's kind of I don't know anybody else but you that's actually like tried it. But usually on when I get a good retention of a minute or more, I feel I
Now,
just feel
now
yeah.
hold on, retention. Explain that just a little bit. What are we talking about?
Retention is when you do 30 to 40 breaths where you breathe in and you let the air go like just, kind of big breath in the belly and you let it go, breathe it back in. And then on a retention would be after that, you breathe all your air out of your lungs, like, and then you hold it. So no air in your body, everything's out, and you hold and you don't breathe in again for as long as you can. And when I do that and I get, you know, to the point where I can do that for over a minute for three cycles after I do the 30 to 40 breaths, I just I don't know. I close my eyes and I feel, I guess like the Indians called it the big medicine in the sky.
Yeah.
Whatever whatever you call it. Like I believe in God. I believe in the energy, the invisible energy that humans can create between each other, um, through prayer and positive thinking and all of that. And uh, you know, I just feel that like white, bright light just coming straight in to the center of my forehead and just fixing me. I don't know.
Yeah, man. You know, when I was doing it, I did it for like 2 or 3 months straight. And
Hmm.
one thing I want to talk about is everybody talks about being present. And I've had this a few times in my life recently that I've been able to say this sentence. but there's been a few times you hear something and you understand something intellectually, like be present, or something like that. But it's hard to really understand it unless you feel it. You know what I'm saying? Like unless
Hmm.
you feel it in your core, in your soul almost. And that is with the Wim Hof. Like I need to get back into it. I'm not really sure why I fell out of it, to be honest with you. But when I could just be present, I think when you're meditating, and I've done other meditation things before, they have you count, they have you breathe, and you're supposed to focus on something. And what you're supposed to do is not focus on everything going by. You're supposed to just kind of be present, right? And I think that the water, the cold water, is just an overwhelming factor that helps you be present. It's like an overwhelming your senses. And so it's like meditation on steroids. But no, it's so true. And
For sure.
besides all the benefits that the cold have, but being present, being able to be present, you don't realize how much we are not present. How much we're thinking of woulda, coulda, shoulda. How much we're on our phones. How much we're on Facebook. And I'm the worst about that. Like I admit, like, I'll be at a stoplight and I get bored and I'll pull out Facebook at a stoplight and I'm driving, you know?
Shame.
I know. I know. It's so bad. But I can't I don't know if I can describe how freeing and how good of a feeling, just relaxed and calm, I felt being present. Just that gift of being in the moment, focusing on the water hitting my body and just focusing on the breath and just being able to let everything else go and be okay with it. I mean, it sounds good, well and good, but when you're able to experience something like that, that's just a whole nother level and it's very interesting. And it's something that I had never experienced real before that I could remember. Maybe when I was a little kid or something, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But I think that
Hmm.
for me, they say that meditation is a workout for your brain, and you don't want to let that atrophy. And a lot of people ignore that. And when I was really focused on that Wim Hof, and I really want to get back into it, but when I was really focused on it, that helps so much. And we go back to talking about being able to react without emotion, being able to react logically in a situation that helps it. That right there helps so much because if you can just be present and you're not off in 50 different directions, that not only is that a gift and something for you, but it can be a gift for people around you. It's interesting. It's an interesting feeling.
Yeah. It's yeah, like I said, there's a lot of it is like mind, body, and spirit. Um, it's I haven't experienced anything like it, like you were saying, since I was a kid and I was discovering the world. You know, it's uh, like your veins and your capillaries, like when I can't wait for it to be winter again because I want to feel that intense cold again. Like this summer's been so boring. Like I haven't had any challenges as far as cold goes because the shower only gets so cold, and I don't really have time to load up an ice bath and sit in there, you know. So
Dude,
it's just when I'm washing my body, but like
yeah.
like I could see as I was, in the winter time doing this, like my veins, like it was like whoa, like I have all these veins that are in like my body is obviously adapting and getting blood to my extremities so that they stay warm when I am in freezing temperatures. Like
Yeah, man.
it's a real adaptation, mind, body, and spirit for sure.
Dude, and I was watching Juji Mufu. At the end of all
Hmm.
of his videos, he makes all of his guests do an ice bath interview. It's terrible. He puts them in an ice bath and then interviews them, and they're just like, I don't know what's happening.
I would that'd be funny.
Yeah,
I
you get
just
like the best answers out
yes,
of people.
yes, sir. What would you like to talk about? I,
I'm just in this nice, relaxing bath here. Yeah, that's one thing we should do is an ice bath. I'm very interested. I need to work out my tolerance again. I tried to take a cold shower. I haven't done it in a few months. I tried to take a cold shower the other day and it was awful. I'm like, oh man, I'm weak again. I need to get strong. Oh,
Uh, it was something that took a long time to build back up. Definitely is something that you train because yeah, I couldn't handle it when I first got out of when I was in a weakened state, but as I got
yeah,
stronger, it's gotten easier and easier, and I
yeah.
can't wait. Like I said, I can't wait for it to get cold again because I'll be able to do more with it.
Well, moving on from that, so
Moving
you
on.
moving on. Well, I was gonna say, let's talk about body. So we talked about mind and spirit, and body a little bit. But Zach, you've got a competition coming up you've been working on. I've been watching you practice for that. How's that going?
It's going pretty well. I'm I'm at the percentages that I want to be right now. Just kind of progressing through a program that I've kind of mashed together from all the different programs that I've experienced. Just kind of doing what's worked for me in the past.
Nice,
So,
nice. You gonna break any state records this year?
well, there are no records because they reset the weight classes. So
Oh,
I actually I got to hold I get to hold one Utah state record forever because now that the weight classes are changed, there will be no one else that can take that record. It's just that's what that record is
nice.
because that weight class doesn't exist anymore. But that's also like in the past, so
Got to
there's
keep moving.
new records to be taken, which I don't really care about that as much anymore. Like I'm just gonna do my best to perform and put as much energy as I can into it, and we'll see what happens.
That's awesome. Is there anything you've been working on specifically, as far as any movement you've been struggling with, any, injury you're getting through, or anything you're just trying to be stronger at?
Yeah, I've been doing. I've really focused on like working my legs unilaterally, like lunges, single leg squats,
Oh, yeah.
and because I noticed that my right side is a lot stronger than my left side in my legs, and my left hip is always seems to be achy. But I've been working really hard on lunges and single leg squats 3 days a week, and
Yeah, man.
it seems to be helping a lot. Like my squats are feeling a lot more balanced. My knees feel really good. My hip pain's starting to go away. Um,
Nice. Yeah.
definitely gonna be interesting to see what I can do at the end of this program. So
Well, for
that's
me, oh,
American Masters November 1st to 4th.
oh yeah, I
I
guess
don't
we should say that. Yeah.
yeah, in Salt Lake City. I don't know what day my group would be going, but I think I will be a in the 102 kilogram weight class. I'll cut just like about 9 or 10 pounds to get down to that weight. Shouldn't be too difficult
Oh, yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
a little fasting,
Little fasting, little not eating
you
for a
know,
little while.
easy.
Well, for me, I'm still plucking away at my back.
Hmm.
I've had a lot of problems with my back, but man, it's interesting as I start to get deeper and deeper into rehabbing it. Instead of just, it's so awesome that I almost started accepting it just as a weakness that I'd have forever. But, as I've been working with the coaches at Wasatch CrossFit and working with yourself and getting suggestions, and if you guys have been watching me and, coming up to me and be like, I don't know if you think that's a squat, but that's not a squat. And no, but it's helpful. I say that Cause like the other day, I'm like, I thought I was squatting parallel because that's what I've been working on is getting low and whatnot to work all the muscles. And I was doing light weight, but then Joey comes up. He's like, "Hey man, you're not even close," which is good because you can't see that. So you know, I've been really focused on getting ass to grass, as you will, getting my butt down there, getting down past parallel. And what I find is I'm working on these movements. Number one is I'm getting much better mobility. I'm finding that I've had bad mobility. I've been favoring my right side so much that I think that's what's causing my back. And I'm so weak when I'm down there. Like I'm super strong with 100 pounds on my back, but then I flex all the way down as I can. And so my goal. So what I'm doing now is I have a med ball and I'm squatting until I touch the med ball. And when I first start that, I really have to try. Like I really have to push to get down there. And then I can touch the med ball with my butt and then I go up. But what I notice is in that movement, in that first inch or two, when I touch the med ball, is so weak. And I have to focus so hard on going up evenly and not pulling to my right side. And so the last thing I'll say is I have a lot of room to go, but I'm just excited that I feel like I'll be able to fix myself and this won't be a chronic problem for me with my back going out.
I think you're on the right track as things go. Um, it just takes time. It's you know, once now that you're able to get down there with a little bit of weight, you're just gonna keep progressing and keep getting more mobility and strength.
Yeah.
When I started squatting, I I had zero control over the bottom like quarter of my squat. Like I
Yeah.
could get down there, but it was like free fall and just like smashing myself
Yeah.
in the bottom, and I had no power except for just the stretch reflex to just stand up. And now after like years of training, it's like, oh, I actually feel like I can generate some force down there, doing lots of pause squats and just like kind of like you're doing, like stretching out and feeling that position. It's just over time, you get better control of it. And the more you focus on it, the more you're gonna see results. But
Yeah. And it's
it's
so
it'll
relieving
come.
to yeah, it's so relieving to know that it's not just the more I start focusing on these things that I was just starting to accept as old age, my shoulder, my back, my ankle, stuff like that. But I'm really starting to believe that 90% of what we think is old age is really just neglect, is really just bad movement, and is things that we could correct, you know, if we focused on it and if we put ourselves through the pain and effort of doing it.
Yeah,
And I'm really seeing that and I'm starting to look around and notice, these old people in my life that are having these issues and I'm starting to wonder like with a little diet and exercise, I wonder if you could fix that. Like if you didn't neglect it and if you because your body's so connected. So it's like, oh, this hurts or that hurts, but if like you did the squats and you did that and you got the mobility. I wonder, I don't know, and it just on and it makes me wonder because the journey I'm on, but I really wonder if you 90% of what we think just is old age we could correct with a little bit of effort, you know?
I actually had a gentleman come to the Summit Strength class at Wasatch who had issues with balancing. I don't know exactly how old he was, but he was a Vietnam guy. So he's up there in his years,
Yeah.
probably 70s. Um, but I had him using the PVC pipes so he could keep his balance, have more points of contact with the floor when he's moving around. But Bob messaged me after the class. We got through, pretty decent workout for a first time for somebody like that.
Yeah. And
We
Bob is a
didn't.
badass old guy that works out with us. He is
also,
awesome. I love that guy.
also a Vietnam guy.
Oh, I didn't know Bob was in Vietnam. I didn't know that.
Uh huh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I feel like triples his badassery
Yeah,
right
he's like
there.
badass
But
on like it's like Spinal Tap. Everybody goes to 10, but Bob, he goes to
he goes
11.
to 11.
Anyway,
Yeah. Anyways, he's like, yeah, Rick's been getting after it ever since the class ended. He said he's doing yard work, he's up and moving around, his balance is fine, and he's just like feeling great after one workout. All these issues that have been with this guy for years are just like 100 times better, from Bob's message that I got. And I can't wait to see this guy next week and kind of talk to him about it. But
yeah.
it
Next week
really is.
when you talk to him, let's get some feedback for the podcast. Like ask him
For
some
sure.
questions. That would be very interesting to talk. Now, anybody listening, we're not doctors. We're not
No,
advocating anything. These are just
no,
our observations, you know,
no.
that
Yeah,
and
this is not truth. This is observation.
this is observation, what do they call it? I forget the word for it, but circumstantial evidence or whatever you want to call it. Um,
hmm
but anyway,
It's just
it's just
stuff that happened.
yeah. Um, okay. So, new exciting thing. So Zach and we've decided we want to start experimenting and doing challenges. So one of the whole points of Geek Fit is we wanted to start using a workout, using game time to work out. Like when you're playing Warcraft or Dark Souls or The Witcher or whatever, use some of that time to work out. And we still want to do that, but we want to expand that. Um, I was listening to I don't know what that was, but that was amazing. One thing that really got me, I've been watching a lot of Juji Mufu on YouTube, and if any of you guys haven't seen him, he's hilarious. Go subscribe to his channel. And I was also listening to Jim How do you say that last name?
Zapani, I
Stopani
think.
from bodybuilding.com, and they both said something in different ways, but they both were suggesting the same thing. Jujimufu was saying that when he had a desk job, that anytime that he would drink a lot of water and make himself pee, and then anytime he would go pee, he had a kettlebell in his office bathroom that he would use, and he would do some squats and things like that. The reason is because he wanted to stay
That's
active.
gross.
What's
Just
gross?
sorry. Having a kettlebell in the bathroom. Sorry,
Yeah.
continue.
Well, he had his own bathroom. No, he had his own bathroom,
Oh,
so it wasn't
okay.
like a bunch of random people like taking a dump and then messing with the
Okay.
kettlebell. So it was like his own.
Okay.
So it was only him
Okay.
taking a dump. So
Okay, that's good.
that's better. Not totally not gross. But so anyway, my point is his whole point was, you work out. If you do a workout, you work out for an hour a day. You have 23 hours left in the day, you know, and you need to stay active. The human body was meant to move. And his whole point was is he was coming at it from a flexibility standpoint. He's like, we as humans, we're not meant to stand all day. We're not meant to sit all day. We're not meant to just stay sedate all day. His point was we're meant to move. We're meant to move around, and the way he stays so flexible is he would work on it. And one of the ways he'd work on it is by doing squats and doing these things throughout the day, so his body didn't just stiffen up and seize up on him. The other
Hmm.
the other thing was is Jim Stepani,
Yeah.
I'll get his name, from bodybuilding.com was saying the same thing, but see, he studied things, and he was more interested in the genes. And what he was saying is the same thing, where he's like, yeah, you need to be active. He's like, I have a 30-60 rule, where for every 30 minutes that I'm sitting or not doing anything, I'll do 60 seconds of activity. That's his rule. And he's like, because what it is there's genes in your body that get triggered. Now, I'm going to bastardize this, so I recommend going and watching his video on it. But there's genes in your body that will get triggered when you work out and you're staying active, and they'll burn fat. They'll keep you, active. They'll burn fat, build muscle, keep your body lean. But if you stay sedate for too long, just chilling for an hour, a couple hours or something, those genes will turn off. They are no longer needed. They turn off, and then that's what makes it really hard to lose weight. And it makes total sense because if you're only active for 1 hour, and I'm realizing that that's what I was doing. I've had a lot of problems trying to get down to a body fat percentage that I want. I don't want a six pack. I just don't want a gut. But then, as they were talking, it was kind of like a aha moment for me, where I'm like, yeah, dude, like I'm only working out like 1 hour a day, and I'm killing it. But then the rest of the time, I'm just sitting, doing nothing. You know. So Zach and I want to expand this, and we want to start doing weekly challenges where when you're at work, when you're gaming, when you're doing stuff, you take some time to just do some quick movements. So Zach and I have experimented this week. Zach, how has it been going for you?
It's been going really well. The at at as a sales guy at a dealership, you're always moving around. You're like today, I went back to the bullpen, which is all the way at the other end of the dealership across the street, where we have some cars that like aren't on the display lines, like so I had to go and get them because they were the exact thing that the people wanted that I sold to, bring them up, and I don't just walk back there, like I'm sprinting. Like I don't
Yeah,
have
man.
I don't have time to walk. Like I'm sprinting because what if I walk and because I walked, I missed the opportunity to make a sale? Like maybe I've got this sale that I'm working on. Maybe that's in the bag. But what if I walk and I take longer on this sale and I don't have time to do, like, I can't accept that. So I sprint.
Nice.
and
Nice.
and so I'm moving a lot like in that regard. I also brought a 53-pound kettlebell that I put in the hot seat area where all you do is wait and watch for a customer to come up that needs help. It's someone that starts looking at cars and just go out and help them after you see them. But a lot of times you can be sitting in there for hours. It just depends on how busy it is. So I sit in an office chair and I'll do presses and like spin around and get dizzy and do presses on the other arm. And
And
then
puke a little bit, whatever.
stand up and do like 10 snatches or 7 snatches on each arm. Did a couple of single arm overhead squats. You know, nothing that really made me tired or sweaty, but it felt so good to just get some blood flow going and like get rid of some nervous energy that's
Yeah.
involved in that whole process of being a salesperson. Um, it's been funny. It's been really fun watching other people I work with try to use the kettlebell, but I hope like
That's
I
awesome.
like girls and stuff are like picking it up like totally wrong, like, and I'm trying to like be like, no, you gotta like, like let's get you some technique before you try to do that. And
Listen, I don't
I
need you
just yeah,
popping your back out here. Let me show you.
yeah, like I would feel so bad if they started like got hurt and they're like, I need work with workers comp because Zach brought his kettlebell. And like no, I don't want to see that happen. I hope they don't get carried away too much and hurt themselves. But
That's awesome.
nobody's been too dumb so far. The
Yeah.
general sales manager keeps talking about how he wants to get rid of. I don't know how long we're gonna keep that around, but it's been sitting there ever since I brought it. So
Oh, that's awesome.
we'll
You know,
see.
for me, I've loved it. Like, I don't know if I have nervous energy. I've been in sales a little longer, so I think I'm used to that. But it's so normal to me. I think I get tired, my energy goes down. So
Hmm.
I've been taking Jujumufu's advice and I've been drinking a lot more water, which then makes me have to pee. So I pee 5, 6, 10 times a day now. But when I go down back to the bathroom, I'll go and I'll pee. And then what I'll do is I'll do 20 air squats and then I'll do 10 push ups. Okay. And every single time I go back there. So, I mean, I think I'm accumulating like 100 push ups every day. And it's nothing that gets me tired. It's nothing that makes me sweat. I'm breathing a little bit when I come out of the bathroom, and people are probably thinking some weird stuff's happening back there. But like, So you got to poop. Like, dang man, he was really working for it. But you know, I am excited because if I stay active, what I'm hoping is I can get, you know, a body percentage that I like more, but it also wakes me up, man. I feel
Yeah.
better. And one very interesting thing is, so we had a really good workout this morning, and I noticed my back was starting to tighten up a lot. And usually when my back tightens up, it sucks, it hurts a lot, and I stretch, I try to stretch, I try to do things, and it just doesn't loosen up. But
Hmm.
today I would go back there and I'd do those squats and I focused on getting down real low. And after a couple sessions of that, like honestly, my back was fine. It kind of just worked out its way out.
Hmm.
So, what we want to do is we want to start doing these weekly challenges for everybody.
Weekly challenge.
Dun 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 dun. Dun. That was the ESPN noise.
Challenge and fighting and challenge tonight.
So what we want to do is depending on your where you're at, okay? Every day try to get in 50 push-ups and 100 squats, okay? And these are just air squats with the best form you can.
You can
Now,
do push-ups on an angle too.
yeah, like if you have to do push-ups against the wall, against a chair, same with the air squats. Even if you have to do chair squats instead of air squats, dude, that's great. And don't do them all at once. Do 10, do 5 at a time, whatever.
Bless you.
Woo, sorry, I had to sneeze. Um, so just do them. Stay active. Do 10 at a time throughout the day. Take time to do it. You'll have to make time, and you won't want to do it because we did this workout called Cindy in CrossFit, and I wanted to die, and all it was push-ups and air squats for 20 minutes, and I was so sore. And then I went to work and did more push-ups and air squats. but
Yeah.
you push through it. And honestly, you know, if nothing else, it'll just keep you at a much better level than just being sedate all day. So again, 50 push-ups and 100 air squats a day, or 75 and 150, or 100 push-ups and 200 air squats a day. Break it up, have an hour between each one, or 2 hours if you have to. Like I've been doing an hour and a half to 2 hours between every time I go back there, just because you get busy at work, you can't always get back. But make some time for it, and we want to hear your guys' experiences with it. Do what you can, don't kill yourselves, but let's see how we can start kind of changing our bodies and getting to where we want to be. The next challenge is we definitely think that it's worth time meditating. There's this app called Headspace. Get that app. There's 10 free days on it. There's all kinds of Headspace you have to pay for after a while. I love it. However, there's free meditation apps on there. But again, try meditating just take some time out. Do 5 minutes a day. Nothing crazy. If you want to investigate the Wim Hof stuff, that's a more um, intense version. But do some stuff for mind, body, and spirit this week, every day consistently, and the results
You
will
know,
happen.
yeah. You know that Wim Hof tried to swim underneath like Arctic ice and froze his corneas and almost died.
Yeah, his eyeballs froze. I remember that.
Like that
Yeah,
dude, like he has just stared death in the face and just like laughed at
I know. He's just like, haha, screw you, buddy. Yeah,
it.
seriously, that guy, he climbed Everest in shorts and that was it, right? Like he just
I
had
think he
shorts.
had ice boots. I think he had spiky ice boots.
Yeah,
And I think he didn't quite make the summit. He had an injury.
that's
But
crazy.
the cold wasn't a factor.
Yeah, and you know, he's not only just cold. He ran in the desert. He ran a marathon in like one of the hottest places on earth.
An ultra marathon, I think.
That's ridiculous.
And
So,
he said he just drank coffee.
yeah, that's fine. That doesn't dehydrate you or nothing. So, yeah, you're good there.
Uh,
Awesome. All right. Well, that's it for us today, guys. So tune in next week. We want to hear some feedback on those on what you guys did on the challenge this week. Zach, do you have anything else?
yeah, follow us on the Facebook. It's just search for Geek Fit on Facebook. Look for our logo. It's kind of a yin yang with a dragon and a squid guy. That's Bahamut and Cthulhu.
Yeah, man.
We're on YouTube, right? Geek Fit on
Geek
YouTube.
Fit, Geek Fit,
Min
Min
Max
Max
IRL.
IRL. Yep.
And we're also Twitch G33KF1T. Leet Speak for Geek Fit for all you elite
Elite
peoples
speakers.
out there. Um, other than that, guys, just hit us up if you have any questions, you need help with anything, or you just want to, if you just need somebody to talk to,
Say
just
hi. We have
you
plenty of
know,
time.
here.
We're here. Awesome. All right. Thanks for joining Geek Fit. We'll talk to you guys next time.